Hi there, I'm Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, March 21st, 2021. So I'm going to give you my interpretation of the transits for this week, and then I'll do mini readings for all 12 signs today. And for those of you that don't know me, I have been a professional psychic and astrologer for 33 years. Since 1988 was the first time I started doing professional readings for the public. So, so we'll just dive on in now. The sun today, as I record this, is at 1 degrees of Aries. So I don't know if you guys felt it, but last week with the sun going through the last degrees of Pisces, I have been exhausted all pretty much the whole transit. But then the last few days of that transit, I could not sleep. So I went from being exhausted to then being so wired I couldn't sleep. And I think a lot of that was also not only the sun wrapping up its transit in Pisces, which represents our connection to our spiritual self and our psychic self. I was getting all kinds of vivid dreams and downloads. But also, we entered into the spring equinox. And according to some of the astrologers that I follow, there's an extra lineup of potent vortex energies going on around us. And so that probably also contributed to my inability to sleep. Now the sun is in my sign. In fact, it is right on top of my Mercury, which is at 1 degree of Aries, and my sun is at 5 degrees of Aries, and my moon's at 22 degrees of Aries. So I'm a triple Aries gal. So the biggest thing this week, well, there's two things. One is that the sun and Venus are conjunct. Right now, the sun's at 1 degrees Aries and Venus is at 0 degrees of Aries. So they're 1 degree apart. The other big event this week is the full moon next Sunday. So what does it mean that Venus and the sun are conjunct? So the sun illuminates and it's our heart, and Venus is our relationships and what we love and how we receive energies. So when the sun and the Venus are this close together and they're going to be moving into an exact conjunction by Friday, my birthday, they'll be exactly conjunct. And then they'll travel exactly conjunct for a few days. And they'll actually be conjunct until the first, I think it's like April 9th, they're just going to stay. So this is a pretty long transit of the sun basically expanding all these beautiful principles of Venus. So, who we love, what we love, how we receive energies. Also, with the sun this close to Venus, we may feel like our heart is on our sleeve, or we may feel very raw and vulnerable and open. The sun at the beginning degrees of Aries is about, for all of us, not just those of us that are Aries, but for all of us, it's exploring how we relate to ourselves. Aries represents our personal ego, and in the early degrees, how we relate to ourselves. And so Venus there in these early degrees is how do we love ourselves? So I think one of the biggest focuses this week is to focus on how do you love yourself? Are you loving to yourself? Do you treat yourself with love and compassion? Or are you harsh and critical? Like, this is a week we could really change how we relate to ourselves. It's a rebirth. Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So Aries is the baby of the zodiac. And so on the downside, Aries can be selfishness and impulsivity and a childlike way of dealing with things, immaturity. And then on the positive end of the scale, Aries can be passionate and sensitive and joyful. And, you know, when Aries feel passionate about something, they throw themselves in it completely. If they don't feel passionate towards something, you can't make them do it. That's really all the fire signs. The fire signs have to feel lit up about their lives, or they can't do it. So how do you treat yourself? This is an opportunity to have a rebirth, a new beginning about how you do you. How you love yourself. Do you do it in a tangible, visceral way? Do you bring joy to your daily groove? Um, so that's just some of the things that I've been thinking about in terms of the Aries energy. All righty. So the moon right now is in Cancer. Um, Cancer makes us all super sensitive. Um, Feeling things overly, like the can if you know any cancers, they can be like they may have that protective shell around them, but they're super soft and squishy on the inside. And moon is in its home sign when it's going through Cancer, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. And so there is extra illumination in terms of our intuition. The moon represents our intuition, among many other things, our feelings. And so when the moon is in Cancer, we can just feel things extra. And so there can be this real sensitivity for the next few days. Well, and even longer with the sun conjunct Venus and the moon being in Cancer, it's like we can all feel super sensitive. So right now, actually, the moon is squaring Chiron. And so there can be this come to a head of Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron has been in the early degrees of Aries, moving back and forth for several years now. So it's been helping us all heal how we feel about ourselves. So this week, we're going to have the sun and Venus conjunct Chiron. So it's a wonderful opportunity for some deep level healing, some healing for all time in the way that we have responded to ourselves, and do we bring love? And what's interesting is this is happening, this exact conjunction, they're already close together, the sun and Venus, right? And then Chiron is at 8 degrees, so it's moving closer. The sun's at 1 degree, so it's, it'll approach Chiron by next Sunday, a week from today, which is also the day that we have the full moon in Libra. So this is going to be a powerful time a week from now, but we can feel full moons before the actual event. In fact, sometimes the most wiggy and inability to sleep happens within the few days of the full moon. So we are going to be feeling this impending full moon towards the end of the week. Yeah, so that's a huge highlight. Let me go through the day by day. So tomorrow, Saturn is trining Mars. So Saturn is in Aquarius. It's at 10 degrees of Aquarius. Mars is in Gemini. So Mars is approaching the North Node, which is at 13 degrees of Gemini. So these two, Mars will get to 10 degrees and will exactly trine Saturn tomorrow. So what does that mean? Saturn is our rules, our how we form things, how we put our boundaries up in our life. It's the laws, it's the no, how we say no, how we set boundaries. Mars is our ego, it's how we put energy into things. And so it can be this new alignment. Trine is a nice aspect. So it's like bringing out the best of how we make rules and how we set boundaries in terms of, I feel like it's our ability to move towards something, take action towards something that we've been been thinking about, because Mars is in Gemini, which rules the head. Mercury rules Gemini. So there's this mercurial, like probably overthinking that's been going on for a lot of us. But bringing out the positive in is like new thoughts, inspired ideas, creativity. So we may set boundaries around deciding we're going to write, for example, or to make music, or communicate something it might be the best day to share your feelings with someone or explain what you think to someone else. Now, the North Node is at 13 degrees of Gemini. It's been there for all of last week. meaning the south node is at 13 Sag. They're always opposite each other in the skies. And these are points of reference. They're not like asteroids or planets. But 13 makes to a 4, which is a breakdown, breakthrough energy. So it's been feeling, this whole last week has been feeling like a Mercury retrograde energy. Anybody else feeling it? People have been asking me, is Mercury retrograde? It's like, no, it was retrograde back in February, but it definitely feels like that because of this North Node in Gemini that's ruled by Mercury at a breakdown breakthrough energy, which it'll also be at all week long. So I had a video that I made for another client just disappear. Sorry again, Vicky. And computer glitchy things, phone glitchy things. I've had a friend text me and then the message didn't go through. It showed her on her phone unable to deliver. She had to message me on Facebook saying, look at this. So that's all classic Mercury retrograde. Mercury, when it goes retrograde, wreaks havoc in our communication with our technology, transportation, our phones, our gadgets. And so with the North Node at this breakdown, breakthrough energy, it feels very much like a Mercury retrograde. Now, here's the other thing is Mars is going to be conjunct the North Node this week too. So, and that happens on Friday. So that also may be shaking up things because Mars will be at this 13 degree and Mars, the planet of taking action. So there could be this major breakthrough in news, or I'm hoping not war, but Mars is the god of war. So Mars at a breakdown, breakthrough energy, conjunct the North Node. The North Node affects everyone on the planet, right? It's what we're supposed to be learning. And right now we're learning new ways of thinking as the North Node transits Gemini. And then the nodes move backwards. All the rest of the planets are forward moving right now up until the end of April. We have this forward motion with all the planets. So this is a great time to put things into action, especially with it being spring, right? The beginning of a new astrological year with the Aries energy. So so we have tomorrow on Monday Saturn trining Mars, which is a positive energy. I also get this feeling of it being a time to start new things. Saturn is like how we form our energy and our boundaries and our routines. And with Mars, the planet of energy, how we put into with a trine, it's a beautiful day to initiate, get things started. Venus is in Aries now, at this 0 degree still. And so 0 degree can feel kind of wiggy and open and vulnerable. Again, the moon's in Cancer, Venus is at 0 degrees, it's 1 degree off of the sun. So we can feel this just tenderness in our heart. It may be easy to cry, clearing out some old wounds. The sun moves to 2 degrees on Monday. So the Venus and the sun are like 1 to 2, it's really kind of 1.5 degrees apart at this point. On Tuesday, Mercury squares Mars. So this is our head squaring off with our ego. So there can be like, what do I want to do? What did I say I was going to do? What did I like? We could like, yes, get all this energy of starting something new and feeling it out and getting it very clear. And then the head could come in because I feel like it's our mind that is the biggest block to our intuition. And I believe that everyone's intuitive. But with Mercury squaring Mars, we could wait, stop. Mercury, the head may take over and go, wait a minute, I don't want to do this. Or it could be ego power struggles. So we have this sweet day on Monday and then kind of a crosshairs on Tuesday energy. And Wednesday, the sun is at 4 degrees of Aries, which is a breakdown, breakthrough energy. And the moon moves into Leo, which is really highlighting fun and relationships. And it can just be, people letting their stuff out. We'll still feel like these trines and the squares, we can feel these before and after too. So there's definitely emphasis with Mars's energy this week. And Mars is the ruler of Aries. So as the sun's moving through Aries, we look at Mars and what's Mars doing to, like, they're interacting a lot with each other. Um, when Mars went through Aries, it took 6 months to go through. It went all the way through and then went retrograde. So we had such volatility. The rate on the capital was when Mars was at 29 degrees of Aries. So these early degrees of Aries that the sun and the moon and Chiron are at is really more about personal. And but with the fire up with Mars square Mercury, we could like be really harsh with ourselves. So you got to watch that this week. On Thursday, Mercury squares the nodes at 14. I mean, at 13, which is the 4, which is the breakdown, breakthrough energy. Again, we could have like a mental meltdown uh, on on Thursday. Friday, my belly button birthday. Um, the sun will be conjunct Venus, exact. So it's conjuncted already because they're close in proximity. So any time planets are within 7 degrees of each other, that can be considered conjunct. And then the closer the numbers are, the more potent you can feel it. So the sun will be exactly with Venus at 6 degrees of Aries later in the day on Friday. I'm actually a 5 degrees Aries sun. um, Mars will cross the North Node and Jupiter goes to 22. It's at 21. So Jupiter goes to 22, which makes that to a 4, which is a breakdown, breakthrough energy. Jupiter expands things. So this can really be a volatile week, especially I'm really feeling like with your own self. But there could be this, I'm just feeling this sort of pissy energy on the planet too. We've got Uranus at 8 degrees of Taurus still. Uranus and Taurus, I mean, Uranus takes about 7.5, 8 years to transit a sign. So Uranus and Taurus, since it's been there for a couple years, has been shaking up the earth. We have major earth changes. When Uranus first went into Taurus a couple years ago, it's when volcanoes started going off in Hawaii. We've had crazy floods and fires and freezing temperatures and like really major um, weather extremes and things that are shaking up the planet. That's still happening. I feel like there's more planetary shaking going on. I really predict earthquakes. We all know California is on a fault line. I expect that sometime in the next 5 years, California is going to get its next major earthquakes with Uranus and Taurus. It may not be until Uranus gets close to those last degrees when it's really going to wreak havoc, but it's already been wreaking havoc on our planet since it moved into Taurus, because Taurus represents the earth. So we also have Black Lilith in Taurus. So this is stirring up our deepest fears. Black Lilith represents in our birth chart where we have fears that's left over from past lives, like fears that were instigated in past lives, and it's sort of our trigger points in this lifetime. So Black Lilith and Taurus also can bring up the fears about our value, our valuables, like our money issues and work, and what am I worth, and am I worth it? Those kind of things can be really brought to a head with the Black Lilith energy. And Mercury will be sextiling Black Lilith on Saturday, which I feel like is a time to get some insights, have some new ways of thinking about these fears. It's also on Saturday, the sun's at 7 degrees of Aries, which is a very much a spiritual growth day, psychic growth day. So that's a day of super sweet energy downloads. And then Sunday on the 28th, we'll have the sun conjuncting Venus still and Chiron. And Chiron, that wounded healer energy, it's an opportunity to really heal some major things with yourself. With Venus there, the sun there, and Chiron there, this could be some potent for the rest of your lifetime healing in terms of how you feel about yourself. 8 is making a decision. I'm going to decide I'm not going to suffer in this way. I'm going to decide I'm going to feel good about myself, right? There's not only do we have Chiron at 8 degrees, Uranus is at 8 degrees. We have Mercury right now is at 8 degrees of Pisces. And so we have all these eights going on right now. The moon will be going to 8 degrees tonight. It's at 7 as I'm recording this. So there's all this harmonic of the eights going on. So this is a week to make decisions, to decide I'm done feeling wounded in this way. I'm done not valuing myself. I'm done not believing I'm worthy of healing or letting think I decide I'm going to heal. It's kind of how I see that with Venus and the sun and Chiron all together. By next weekend, it's a beautiful healing opportunity. So, and you may just notice this with yourself, like, and maybe only just the people closest to you may notice, but it's an opportunity for all of us to go through a major, beautiful healing energy on through this week's transits. Um, Mercury's highlighted, Mars is highlighted, and Venus is highlighted this week. So these are all the personal planets. And then we've got the energy in Aries. So it's going to be a lot of refiguring things out with yourself, rethinking things, refeeling. How do you feel about yourself? You could choose to feel good about yourself. You don't have to choose to feel like you're not worth it. Like the Black Lilith in Taurus there is asking you to let go of these negative fears. Chiron's asking you to heal how you feel about yourself. The Venus Sun kissing each other is just bringing out the most beautiful things about Venus. Venus is the arts, it's creativity, it's love, and Venus rules Libra. And so Libra energy is the balancing of the scales, it's relationships, it's beauty and harmony in relationships. So there can be really beautiful harmonics show up in relationships this week. Um, there also could be some go head to head with Mercury squaring Mars on Tuesday that can bring up some wonky whack in relationship too. Um, Mercury squaring the nodes can bring back up some even media stuff because Mercury rules the media. And with Mercury squaring the nodes, since the North Node is in Gemini, which rules media, and Mercury squaring this, there could really be some volatile news. And you could get some personal news too, since everything's so personal. You may get some news this week. You're like, "Ah, that's unexpected. I didn't expect that." Um, but with the Sun conjunct Venus, you're likely to have some sort of kiss aspect from this Venus Sun conjunction, a new relationship come in, a new aspect of your relationship, feeling more loved by the universe in general. But that starts with you loving you. So up the self-care this week. Oh, I know what else is at 8 degrees. Vesta is at 8 degrees of Virgo. I see Vesta as where we sacrifice ourselves. Vesta was the goddess who guarded the sacred flame in Rome, and she was a virgin, and she was usually sacrificed at the end of her term. So there's this Vesta in Virgo. The asteroids are all like resonating at these eight energies: Chiron at 8, Vesta at 8. Um, like I said, Uranus at 8, Mercury at 8. So and Chiron, there's this making a decision to heal. That seems to be the backdrop of this week. I decide that's the 8 energy. I decide I'm going to heal. I'm going to decide. And with the Uranus at 8 as well, there can be some sudden unexpected healing going on, like something that might bring something up and out. And sometimes we have to have a wound get lanced open for the it to really heal. So you may experience that being forced to have cough something up. Something may be dredged up from deep within yourself, from childhood, even with the sun and Venus in these early degrees of Aries can represent your childhood. And so there may be even some healing over something you've carried with you from childhood. But it can be a powerful week of healing. The full moon will be happening next Sunday at 1:48 p.m. Austin time, Central time zone. And it's going to be happening at 8 degrees of Libra as well. So there's that 8 again. So there's definitely this decisive, like making a decision this week. I decide. And full moons are times of letting go, releasing, having things be taken away, clearings. And of course, there's a reason that they call people lunatics because the full moon can bring out the cray cray in people as well. So, watch out for that next weekend and leading up into next weekend. But I think that my gut tells me that this is a wonderful week to feel like you heal something deep within yourself, and a healing that lasts for the rest of this lifetime and into your next one. Whatever we work on a soul level and shift and heal on a soul level, we get to carry that evolution of our soul that gets to go with us into our next lifetimes. We don't get to carry our stuff with us into future lives, but anything we do on a deep soul level, any evolution that happens on our soul, that goes with us when we leave this lifetime and then into the next. So any good karma that we can create for ourselves sets up better circumstances to be born into in our next lifetime. So yeah, but this is a definitely week of healing some of the childhood wounding that you've carried with you your whole life. That's kind of how I see that. So that's a wonderful opportunity. All right, so now I'm going to go to the cards, and I use the Osho Zen Tarot deck, Oshozen. It's a non-traditional tarot deck, and so I use it to train other people how to do readings, and it's really easy to read. You don't need to know about the tarot signs in order to utilize this decks. A lot of the traditional decks, like people go, well, what does the Five of Swords mean? Like you have to know tarot to be able to understand them. That this deck is super clear. The messages, the pictures are very vivid. So it's a lot easier to use. So if you're looking for a personal deck, maybe to do readings for yourself and to practice, this is a great one. All right, so we'll start with the Aries. Birthday month for those in the beginning of Aries. All right, I'm just going to do one card draws today and pull others if I need to. All right, going with the flow is the card that's coming up for the Aries. So this is like it looks like. Relax, tune into intuition. This is about letting go of the mind, not trying to overthink, but to just tune in, drop, see what the intuition feels like. I mean, I suggest to all my clients that first thing in the morning, one of the best things to do is to do some sort of quiet time, breath work, meditation, chanting, prayer, and then ask your higher self, your intuition, what today do I feel guided to do? When you listen to and follow your intuition, you will find that you are in rhythm with your life. So there's this flow, there's this ease that happens when you're listening to and acting how you feel guided. If you're trying to figure it out and make yourself do things, you can end up running into brick walls, running into red lights, just having the opposite, a lack of flow going. So if you're experiencing a lot of frustration, a lot of jiggy energy, and it just feels like it's, like static, stop, breathe, recenter, ask yourself in this moment, okay, what do I feel guided to do? What would bring ease? If it's something that feels too difficult, too like it may not be the week to do it. You may need to just be easy with yourself this week. Allow things to flow. And know that spirit is carrying you. Like I feel a real activation of spirit and some spiritual surprises this week for the Aries. Some kisses from the universe, some realizing that you don't run everything, that there's a higher higher source energy that is showing up in your life and letting you know that you're not alone. Um, so yeah, um, I feel like it's a beautiful time to feel rocked by the universe. It's also the going with the flow is, it's about flowing along with the water. So if you can get in water, take a swim, soak in the tub, be in a sauna, listen to the sounds of water. These are all things I would recommend for the Aries this week. There's definitely a strong water element. Drink more water. I'm going to hit my sparkling water. Yeah, that's what I get for the Aries. All right, let's go to Taurus. And I will be putting the timestamps as well below the video, so you can know when to go to your sign. This is for sun, moons, risings, and stelliums. Make sure you look at all your pieces. All right, Taurus, yours is the existence card. So this is definitely the call to spiritual meditation, to realize that you're just this small little piece in this vast universe. This could be incoming insights. See the comet streaking across the sky here. It could be surprise spiritual illumination, information coming in your dreams. Call to meditation, maybe going in deeper than you felt. I feel like Tauruses may feel like you want to be alone more this week. You may say no to events. You may need to feel called to be out in nature or to go look up at the night sky. But there's a peace and ease that's happening with the Tauruses this week, especially if you tune in and listen to intuition, pay attention to what your dreams are saying. Yeah, there's just a real sweet, but cosmic messages definitely coming in, spiritual messages coming in for the Tauruses this week. All right, Geminis. Since you guys are ruled by Mercury, you may have been feeling this 13 making to a 4 breakdown, breakthrough energy in the North Node that may be really sort of jacking with you, making you feel kind of fritzed. And Mars is now in your sign too. So you may be, feeling this extra ego energy, extra desire to put yourselves out there in some form or fashion. The completion card is coming up for the Geminis. So this is wrapping something up, bringing something to a completion. It could be a relationship. You're like, I'm done with this. Could be a work assignment or a job that you're like, okay, I finished this. There's some sort of something you've been needing the last piece of some information about that you haven't been able to quite piece something together. That's going to come together for you this week. You're going to have an aha. You're going to have a realization. You're going to be able to see something again from childhood, like something you've been carrying with you your whole life. You're going to have a realization around that this week. It's going to feel like you're going to bring about peace. There's some peace and a quietness of the mind by the end of the week. So that feels very positive for the Geminis. All right, let's see Cancers. What's going on with y'all this week? Since the moon is there now, y'all might be feeling this extra activation. I think when the moon moves through the different signs, it's been real interesting to pay more attention to what sign the moon's in, and then, what I see, how I feel, what I notice going on about the different lunar activations. Okay, so Cancers, you've got this conditioning card. So the story behind this card is that the lion gets lost as a cub and falls in with a pack of sheep. So his whole life, he's got sheep around him, and he's doing what the sheep are doing, which is sleeping and eating and laying around a lot. And the lion's restless and trying to see if someone will go play with him, and they all just like they just are ignoring me, just doesn't know what the problem is or why he feels so weird in his skin, until one day another lion spots him, calls to him and says, dude, come here, takes him down to a nearby water source, and he sees his reflection, and he's like, oh, I'm a lion, I'm not a sheep. So this card always comes up when you're somehow forcing yourself to be in an environment that does not work for you. That can be an environment of a relationship, a work environment, a home environment. There's something that needs to shift, and something about you stepping into the call of the fullness of who you are and being willing to do that. And the lion has courage, the sheep's not so much. So this is also saying that even though it might be scary to stand up for yourself or scary to step out and do something new, you have the courageous spirit within you if you allow that to come out. So that's the Cancers this week. All right. Go to the Leos. Leos have rebirth this week. So then you've got the lion in here, your sun is in here. So this card starts off with the camel here. He's a beast of burden, right? Stores up energy in his hump here. Doesn't go very far or very fast. It's kind of stuck. See all these sort of clouds, right? So out of this stuck place comes the lion. And the lion gets pissed off. And I always thought it was interesting that the word courage has the word rage in it, because sometimes it is something that makes you angry, that makes you want to take action. Enough of that. I'm not going to let this person, this situation do this to me. I'm changing this. I'm not going to do this to myself. So out of this stuck energy comes motion and movement from the lion. And then you can't stay in that wow place forever. You've got to temper that, and this sweetness of the spirit and the musician and the childlike spirit comes out of the lion. So the evolution from being stuck to getting emotion to sweeten and softening the energy is what I see going on for the Leos this week. A total rebirth, a transformation of your life. And so there's some great insights coming. There could be new music projects that come out, or creative projects of some sort with the child playing the flute. It can be inspired, it can be writing, it can be reaching out and connecting to a child, or issues around a child may be transformed. This could be your inner child, or it could be a child in your life. There's definitely how you're feeling today is going to be totally different 1 week from today. Big changes afoot for the Leos, and positive changes, changes you will be grateful and happy about. All right, Virgos. Got the miser up, Virgo. So this is a fear, worry around money, financial things. So I'm drawn to the light here. This is, I feel like you need to let go of the fear and the worry, and trust that you always have what you need. You always are able to manifest. You've made it through 100% of your worst days. And even if you didn't have the money to pay bills, or you didn't have that, like you're always solving the problem somehow and getting some resources flowing through. So let go of the grip and the hold, open up, trust divine source, ask yourself, is there anything I can do about this situation right now? And if you can, take action, follow the inner guidance. And if there isn't, let go of it, because getting into fear and anxiety is only going to make things worse. When you are in fear, you're in a contracted state, and the universe pulls away in reflection, right? When you drop open and trust spirit, trust divine in your life, the divine steps up. So this is an opportunity to let go of some sort of struggle that you're having and letting the divine in, letting a spirit come in and help you and have some healing around um, this. And it feels like Virgos, you need to get out in nature, like just step away, step away from the struggles, step into like some peace and serenity, get out and garden, go take a walk, be out in nature. I think just changing your environment can give you the insight and the inspiration that you're needing to know how to deal with this situation that's bringing up some charged feelings this week. Okay, Libras. Definitely going to be having the full moon in your sign. Bringing something to fruition. Some fruit that you get to pick and eat, it feels like, Libra. All right, the adventure card is coming up for the Libra. So there's something new opening up for you this week. This child is stepping into this rainbow energy. He doesn't really know what it's leading into. He just knows this is the direction to head. So this card I often see coming up when you can't maybe figure out the whole big picture, but you know, okay, well, today I do this. I know this is what I'm supposed to be putting my energies in today. So if it feels right, it is right. If it feels off, it is off. So follow the good feelings, follow the resonance, follow when your heart and your soul and your mind can feel open and want to explore something new. But there can literally be an adventure where you're going on a trip or doing some travel, even if it's nearby, but something could open up and you could decide to do a vacation too, or start planning a vacation that's going to be in the future, or a trip somewhere that's in the future. You may have something completely new and surprising show up for you this week, though. Someone new could enter your life. Yeah, this is like something's coming in a cool way for the Libras this week. I am so thirsty today. Allergens have been super bad in Austin lately. I think I looked at the allergy count on Saturday and there was like 7 things that were in the allergy count. Hackberry in the high category. Hackberry just sounds like something that's going to give you sinus problems, doesn't it? Allergy sounds like something you'd be hacking up. So that's the downside of living in Austin, Texas, is allergies. There's a lot of positives. That's why everybody around the world wants to move here. All righty. So we are dealing, what did I say? This is Scorpio. We've got the past life card coming up, Scorpio. So this is a karmic person may enter in your life, someone that you've known before, a situation that feels very, very familiar. You can have some super psychic, intensive downloads, especially at night, especially around the full moon. Even though this is a new moon in this picture, the moon is activated I can feel it. So this card comes up when there's interactions with a soulmate or someone that you've known in a past life, or you feel like you're stepping into a sense of mission that you came here on this planet to do. It's a powerful card. And it could be a change of direction, and doing something, deciding I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to do something completely different, completely new, because my gut, my intuition is just leading me in this way. So powerful week for the Scorpios. Intuition is going to be really strong, really on. You could even be getting psychic connections from someone that you're not physically around, but you can just sense them, or you get downloads from loved ones that have crossed over. Scorpios, there's a strong, powerful week. And like this feels like this may be a major turning point for you this week, Scorpios. Okay. Go on to the Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you've got the turning in card. This is one of my psychic cards. This is someone who has strong psychic abilities and needing to listen to intuition. It's paramount this week that you listen to your own intuition, you create the space to get some clear downloads, and bypass your own thinking, your own thoughts, because it feels like Sag, there's a sabotaging that you're doing. You're sabotaging yourself. You're telling yourself negative things. It's something you've already been aware of. Like, this is not new information. You know, you do this to yourself. Stop it. Your healing this week may be just seeing yourself starting to do a negative pattern with yourself and just saying, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to choose to believe something different. I'm going to choose to listen to my higher spirit and feel good about my life. And there's definitely a call to meditation. I'm looking at the roses here on the robe here. So there may be sweet essential oil energy. You might need to put yourself um, in oils. You may want to buy yourself some flowers, or you may receive flowers from someone else. It just feels like it's a beautiful, peaceful energy if you turn off your mind or what other people think, worried about what other people may do. No, no, no. Just listen to your own intuition, and you can have this great sense of inner peace and calmness and clarity. That real strong psychic download can happen for the Sagittarius this week. All right, Capricorns. Okay. We'll go with the one that flew out. The understanding card is going with Capricorn. So there's a big aha realization that's happening with you guys this week. It's like thinking outside the box, getting yourself out of some sort of cage or stuck place that you've been in. Feels like spirit has definitely been helping you out. Spiritual messages, angels are helping. The download, it feels like it's obvious that you've got angels around you, that there's a spiritual, you're able to pull your head up out of the mire and look at the beauty and be appreciative and be grateful and just feel a lightness of your heart. It feels like you've been in chains and just been in a cage, Capricorn, and it feels like, oh, you get to lighten up this week. Oh, and take a deep breath and relax and have the energy shift in a positive way. It feels like it's about time. It's been a while. Okay, Aquariuses. Okay. Silence card. So this is about meditation. There's a lot of people being called to meditate. The full moon here, in the third eye position. This is about, you guys may have the biggest experience of the full moon this weekend, of like having some hugely vivid dreams. You might be doing some astral travel or getting some information from your guides. Like, it's a strong psychic week. It's also, with the silence card, is a call to meditation, spiritual practices, moving away from the buzz of the world and getting still within. Like, turn off the TV and the computers and the gadgets and just get quiet and still and listen. And it feels like you can just really feel some peace of your soul and your spirit. You're just needing to take a deep breath and relax and be at peace and maybe get some rest. Maybe you've had trouble sleeping as well, but feels like this is some deep sleep, vivid dreams, psychic spiritual downloads. This is a very spiritual week for the Aquarians. Looks very positive. And last but not least, the Pisces. the traveling card. So this can be spiritually a journey that you're on. You're starting a new adventure where you're going to be taking a, it could be literal that you're taking a trip, but it also could be figurative or spiritual where you're just on a new journey with yourself, that you're traveling. This can literally be going, deciding you're going to go to the mountains, but it could also just indicate a spiritual journey that you're beginning or um, in the middle of. But with the sun here, there's definitely some spiritual revelations, reveals this week, some feeling like, oh, I can do this. It's excitement, positive, happy feelings. Um, yeah, it feels like there's new beginning, is what I'm hearing. There's a new beginning, a new journey, going into a new place. Yeah, this is powerful. This is very powerful. This too for you guys may feel like a changing of the guards kind of energy. This is a new venture. I'm starting out and just feeling a more empowered sense of self. I'm making a decision. It's got the 8 on here too. So with the 8 energy that's up this week, you too may have some make some new decisions. Pisces aren't the best at making decisions. It's the slippery fish, right? And so it's like sometimes it's hard to be decisive. So when you do decide on something, it can feel like such a relief to decide, and I'm going to do this, and this feels right. And so that's the thing. In order to make a decision and follow through with it, it has to feel right in your gut. Pisces are very intuitive. So it's got to resonate, and your gut has to confirm it for you to be able to do it. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for all the 12 signs. If you would like to schedule a private session with me, I'm going to put the link to my website as well as my email below this video. So feel free to reach out. The prices and all of my services are on my website, so I'll have that below here. And you guys have a great week. Look out for the lunatics around the full moon. But I think you're going to feel like you're a different person by this time next week with all the energy that can be about a personal rebirth and a revolution of self. All right. Peace.